Marijuana use in early adolescence and its effects on the brain. My research question for my independent project is, does regular marijuana use in early adolescence change the way individuals perceive and live life? To find out the answer to this question, we first must go through some background information, starting out by recognizing that marijuana is a social substance. Marijuana is often used within groups of people and provides people with a chance to interact with one another through the use of the substance. Your first time smoking most likely was or will be experienced with other people, and usually starts out as something to experiment and have fun with. However, the effects of this can include teens being easily influenced by their peers around them to get into smoking at a younger age, a usage that can then develop into a habit, ultimately leading to a necessity for the substance. Next, we must understand that marijuana is a profitable substance. Many teens in middle school and high school often turn to selling marijuana as a means to gain income. This trend opens the door for marijuana use for many teens who are in the same environment as the sellers. The effects of this include making marijuana more accessible to younger people. Teens start using and selling harder drugs, and it also influences the younger generation to continue the cycle, as they see it as an easy way to make money. With this graphic here, I'm roughly showing the cycle that I've seen in my own time, with teenage dealers selling to young and new users, the young and new users using marijuana until the dependency and habit develops, and then they eventually turn into the teenage dealers selling to the new young users for profit. So, how does marijuana use change the way individuals perceive and live their lives? Some of the main factors I've found to be the most impactful include spending habits, dependency, and decision making. When teens have a dependency for a substance, they often spend the majority of their income on the drug, leaving them financially unstable. It also affects their decision making in a way where they're no longer interested in picking choices that don't involve the use of a substance in some way. Teenage marijuana use is at its highest level it's been in 30 years, and with the potency of the plant nearly tripling since the 90s, you could expect for it to cause some issues with the adolescent brain. Short-term usage of cannabis has been associated with impairment of short-term memory, motor coordination, and paranoia. These effects typically occur under the recreational use of cannabis. Long-term use, however, can lead to a significant decline in cognitive development, along with memory impairment, emotional regulation problems, and lack of motivation, which can then lead to a negative impact on academic performance. Let's backtrack and talk more on the teenage long-term use of cannabis and the impacts it could have in someone's life. As I said before, long-term use of cannabis is associated with a decrease in motivation for teens. They find it harder to derive pleasure from activities that don't involve cannabis. This could also condition teens to expect a reward from a simple task, making them less likely to pursue high-effort activities in the future. Another side effect that can stem from long-term use of cannabis is cannabis use disorder. CUD is a diagnosis given for problematic cannabis use. This can include individuals who continue to use cannabis although it is harmful for their health and way of life. But wait, it is important to note that marijuana affects everyone differently. Substance use disorders don't have one specific cause that fits all people diagnosed with the condition. Stress, emotional distress, and other mental health conditions can all contribute to the development of cannabis use disorder. This topic is important to me because it has many other factors associated with it that can be seen as problems within themselves. The ease of distributing the substance, glorification of its use in the media, mixed with a generation that struggles with substance abuse, is a recipe for disaster. Throughout high school, I've watched my close friends develop strong dependencies for marijuana and have noticed the need for it increasing as the years goes on. I also feel like the topic of drugs itself hasn't been properly enforced amongst the younger generations. The fact that I can confidently say that I've known people who have taken opiates since middle school is not normal and should be looked at more closely. This project is not meant to shun marijuana use, but rather make people more aware of what it really does for you long term. Thank you. And here are my sources. Have a good day. Thank you.